Welcome back at BartlikBartlik YouTube channel, and please don't forget to subscribe for more construction basic knowledge. Today we are going to familiarize ourselves with the difference, or rather with a way on how we determine a one-way spanning slab and a two-way spanning slab. So let us start with a one-way spanning slab. A one-way spanning slab. How do we determine whether the slab is a one-way spanning slab? So the manner in which we determine whether the slab is a one-way spanning slab is like, for example, let us use this, our illustration here. We have our LY, which is the longer span, and we have our LX, which is the shorter span. So the LY is the longer span, the LX is the shorter span. So if you take the ratio, or rather if you determine the ratio, if you take the LY, which is the longer span, divide by the LX, which is the shorter span, and the value you get is 2 or more than 2, or rather greater than 2, then that slab shall be considered as a one-way spanning slab. Okay, let us take an example whereby our longer span, which is our LY, is equals to 6 meters, and our shorter span, the LX, is equals to 2 meters. So if you divide LY over LX, the longer span against the shorter span, 6 divided by 2, the value you will get is 3 meters, or rather 3. So this 3, it is greater than 2. Therefore, that slab shall be considered as a one-way spanning slab. Let us come to a two-way spanning slab. A two-way spanning slab, we have our LY, which is the longer span, and our LX, which is the shorter span. So taking an example that our LY, which is the longer span, is 3 meters, and our LX, which is the shorter span, is 2 meters. So if you divide the 3 meters by 2, you'll get a value of 1.5. This value of 1.5 is less than 2. Therefore, that slab shall be considered as a two-way spanning slab because the value is less than 2. So that is the rule. That is how you determine whether the slab is a one-way spanning slab or it is a two-way spanning slab. Okay, for a one-way spanning slab, the one-way spanning slab, it is supported on two sides. So like for example, in our illustration here, we have got beam 1 and beam 2, and in between is the suspended slab. So this suspended slab is being supported on two sides. So that is a one-way spanning slab. For a two-way spanning slab, the suspended slab is being supported on four sides. Like for example, in our illustration here, we have got beam 1, we have got beam 2, we have got beam 3, we have got beam 4, and then in between we have the suspended slab. So this suspended slab is being supported by four directions, or rather four beams. So that is a two-way spanning slab. Now, for a one-way spanning slab, the loadings, or rather the load is carried along one direction. The load is carried along one direction. Unlike a two-way spanning slab, the loading, or rather the load is carried on four directions. Now, what do I mean that the load is carried on four directions? Using our 2D illustration here. So this is our 2D illustration. So our 2D illustration, we have got beam 1, we have got beam 2, we have got beam 3, and we have got beam 4. So this is our 2D illustration showing the beams, and in between is the slab. So beam 1 will carry the loading as shown in this illustration. So this shall be the portion that beam 1 shall carry that loading. So it is at an angle of 45. And then we have got beam 2. Beam 2 will carry the loading on this portion. So it is at an angle of 45 as well. So this portion of the load shall be carried by beam 2. And then beam 3 shall carry this loading here. So this shall be the loading that is being carried by beam 3. And then the loading that is being carried by beam 4 shall be this loading. So this central portion shall be the portion that tends to deflect downwards, then forming a dish shape like, or rather a basin like shape. So that is how it is. Therefore, the moments on a two-way spanning slab. So this is the beam, this is the beam. So the beam tends to act upwards, while the slab tends to act downwards. So the beams will cause what we call negative bending moments because it tends to act upwards, as compared to the slab, which is tending to act downwards. It will then result to a positive bending moments. Therefore, the bending moment diagram will occur like this. So this is the beam, this is the beam. So the moment at the beam are negative and the moments at the slab is positive. So that is a two-way spanning slab. I've said a two-way spanning slab, the ratio of a longer span and the shorter span is less than 2, therefore considered as a two-way spanning slab. And one-way spanning slab, the ratio of the longer span over the shorter span is equal to 2 or greater than 2, it is considered as a one-way spanning slab. And I've said in a one-way spanning slab, the load is carried along one direction. And in two-way spanning slab, the load is carried on 4 directions, as I have shown in this explanation. So that is how we determine whether a slab is a one-way spanning slab or a two-way spanning slab. And those are the differences between one-way spanning slab and two-way spanning slab. In the next video, we shall be showing how the reinforcement detailing of these two slabs is done. Thank you, and please continue to subscribe for more videos.